Hello all. Next, we are going to start the session in the theme of water sustainability. Now, I'd like to request the following dignitaries to be present on stage. Mridula Ramesh from Chennai Angels, Aditi Shah from Caspian Impact Investments, Krunal Patel from Indra Water, Ganesh Shankar from FluxGen Tech, following with Prabha Nagarajan from Openwater.
Hi, welcome. Welcome to everyone. I think Narsi had a great idea yesterday. I see some of my co-panelists from yesterday on the Titanic session, right? And he said, I think the question he asked is, look, are all of us here essentially moving deck chairs around on the Titanic? So I was one of the panelists there, and the thing I said is, look, the Titanic is sinking. I mean, at some level, the planet has crossed certain planetary boundaries, some tipping points have already been crossed. So I think yesterday was all about mitigation. How do we really stop it from, reaching new depths? Today is about providing lifeboats on the Titanic. The Titanic's tragedy was made greater because there were not enough lifeboats, right? And I think it's past time that we focus on the lifeboats because the Titanic is sinking, and we have several captains of the lifeboat session here. So with that, this session is on water, and I think, I'm going to ask a couple of questions so we know how to structure the discussion. Who are the investors here? Can you please raise your hands? Can you, just that group over there, is that it? Okay. Who are the startups here? Okay. And who are neither investors nor startups? Okay. So good to understand where we are pitching to. Okay. So it's always good to understand your audience. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our startup panel. And I think, given that we have a large general audience, it will be good to, for you to introduce yourself and then speak about which part of the water / climate puzzle that you're addressing. And really, what is the message you have for them? And for the investors, I'll actually start it off. I've been a climate tech investor for about 8 years now. And I started off saying I'll only do climate adaptation. And I heard someone today morning saying, Madam, I thought you don't get returns. Yes, you do get returns. You get fantastic returns. I have a co-investor partner of crime also sitting there. He can also echo it. So I think the time is now. Like, if you want a EV startup or a renewable startup, it's not in the early investment venture space. Okay, water and agri, waste, circularity is all in this space now. These guys are going to be too expensive for many of us in the next few years. So the time is now. I'll leave that with the investors. Okay, with that I'll turn it over. Thanks.
Yeah, that's a very perfect metaphor to begin with. Like, many people think that water is only about solving a challenge and there are no economics involved into it. But with our solution, and not only our, I think everybody's solution, the economics of scale is coming into the water field where people are able to see a business point of view or economic returns in deploying water solutions. So that's a good segue into this introduction. Hi everyone, my name is Krunal. I'm co-founder at Indra Water, and I would just like to thank Narsi and the entire Climafix team for organizing this. It's great to meet like-minded people, few familiar faces here. So it's a great forum to have a discussion and understand each other's solution and how we can together join, because not one company or not one solution is going to be able to solve the entire climate problem. It's a collective effort from everybody, which will jointly, like she said earlier, be the lifeboat of the sinking climate problem. So at Indra, I'm a mechanical engineer from University of Washington in Seattle, and which is where we developed our technology. It is an physio-electrical treatment technology that we have developed, partially what Openwater also does, and she can talk about it. But our main focus is on the very bad quality wastewater, which is generated in manufacturing industries, pharma industries, textile industries. These are usually not the existing conventional solutions are not able to fully meet on an efficiency scale the requirement for wastewater treatment, which is where our solution comes in. We have developed a robust primary treatment reactor. Our patented technology uses primarily electricity for treatment, which essentially destabilizes the pollutant in the wastewater stream, and thereby there are downstream conventional solutions like clarification and filtration, which takes care of the secondary and tertiary treatment. So one of the key aspects is our entire solution is modular in nature. Depending on the capacities that would be required, you can deploy one module, 10 modules or 20 modules. That is how our solution can easily scale up. And the key aspect is the economics of the solution. Like many people think that since ours is an electrically based solution, it would be more expensive to operate compared to conventional solution, but it's not like that. When you do an apple-to-apple comparison, our solution turns out to be much cheaper on an operations scale. Thereby, the returns is what I was talking about. The end user, the customer who is deploying a solution can see a return on investment within a period of 2 years. Even like we are speaking to other financing companies who would invest in water treatment assets, and the customer would only have to pay on an OPEX model. So those kind of financial modeling is something that is possible with an electrically based solution. So, I mean, I can go on and on, but I would like to give the floor to other colleagues, and maybe we can have a Q&A afterwards.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. First of all, I feel really happy to be sitting in a room full of people who I believe are here because we all share the same passion for making a meaningful impact, not only for our lives, but also for our future generations. So it feels really great. Thank you, Mr. Narsi and your team. And I am Prabha Nagarajan, and I'm here from Openwater.in. We are a startup, we are a spin-off from the Indian Institute of Science. We focus on wastewater treatment technologies, and we have a patented solution, somewhat similar to what Indra is doing. It is packaged, pre-assembled, and a compact modular system that can be deployed on site for treating water, wastewater instantly. And it saves you significant space footprint, very much required in today's urbanized world where there is a big space crunch and real estate is the most precious commodity probably. And with this solution, we can tackle wastewater treatment over a varied range of sectors, starting from domestic sectors to industries. But we are focusing on some very difficult to tackle wastewater, that is from hospitals per se, because hospital is not purely sewage. It has contaminants more than just human waste. And it requires innovation to solve sewage. Though hospital wastewater is categorized as sewage, it's not really sewage. It has to be treated differently. So that's one segment we are focusing on. And the other segment we are focusing on are industries with hard to treat water, or where the water treatment technologies are not really catching up to treat complex water nature. And I'll talk about more innovations in the pipeline that I'll be excited to talk and share with you. Maybe I'll do that right now. So, you know, when you talk about wastewater treatment, it is decentralized. The policies are well in place to drive that. But, and small communities and businesses and industries are doing that. But it's really not percolated down to an individual level. And that's what you need to do, because water security starts from a household or starts from an individual. And to enable that, we have developed small, compact wastewater treatment appliances. Mridula is smiling because we exchanged this conversation maybe about a year or two ago. And I think our thoughts have been working parallelly, where she proposes something and I'm like, we are on it, and we have the solution. So these compact washing machine-like or a dishwasher-like solution can be integrated into your household, which recycles water or wastewater and saves up about 50 to 80% of your fresh water needs for a day. So it enables an individual or gives him the power to control and manage water supply for his basic needs. And we understand there is a psychological barrier, there is a yuck factor. And to overcome this, we have taken care of the customer behavior or his preferences. So it's a fully automated system which does not require any intervention. And you plug it in and forget about it. And that's the kind of system I'm talking about. Right now we are calling it the Cube, but it will get a makeover. It will get slimmer over the years and look much prettier, so that you will feel proud to keep it in your household. So that's the kind of system that we have innovated. And so now zoom out a little bit and okay, that's what you're doing for an individual, and that is bound to make a big impact, but what can you do on a larger scale? So talking about, say, water bodies or rivers and lakes. And how do you clean up at that scale? Very ineffective to pump water in and out for large water bodies. So you have to do it on site. So what we have developed are these water drones, which can be deployed in the water body, and it will perform analytics of water quality and send back the data to you remotely or through IoT. Or it can treat water locally, so it does both. And this can be, and you can deploy a fleet of drones, control their positioning as you would like, and it gives you spatial analysis and spatial treatment of water. And not only for water bodies, these can be deployed even in your regular water treatment tanks, where you don't have to pump water in and out. You just deploy it in the tanks, it does the analysis, does the treatment for you. So these are the two innovative solutions in the pipeline for us. And these, I think, we are engineering it for the future, because we know what's coming, and this is what will be needed. Basically, both of these innovations are trying to treat or tackle wastewater management as close to the source as possible. So it saves you on infrastructure for pipelines, for pumping, and other related costs. So those are the two innovations that we are excited about, apart from what we are already offering to industries and hospitals. And yeah, sorry, I think I should pass on the mic to Ganesh now.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabha. I'm very inspired by both of your work, of course. So Mridula was talking about Titanic lifeboats. I think with taking that analogy, if climate change is a shark, water is its teeth. Right? So we live in the same cities that were built by Emperor Ashoka to Akbar, but the water availability has not remained the same. And the people living in the village, the cities have also increased significantly. I come from the city of Bangalore. Today we actually get water all the way from almost like 150 kilometers from River Kaveri. I've been told it's proposed to get in next 5-6 years even water from River Krishna, 500 kilometers. So we are in great mess, and we all know the groundwater situation, that we heavily exploited groundwater, and we have no accountability to that today. And finally we've woken up and realized that it's important to bring accountability to this whole framework of utilization of water. So I'm Ganesh, I'm founder and CEO of FluxGen Technologies. We believe just like how water, as a liquid is transparent and clear, what if you make the data of water transparent and clear and build solution on top of it? And obviously this is a huge mammoth thing to do. So we decided to focus on industries, because industries are a massive and imminent risk because of water crisis. Right? You and I will be assured of water by the government because we also form the vote bank. But industries, Mridula is an industrialist, so she knows it, that she will be in massive risk, because the quota of water that is meant for industries is only diminishing. It is reducing because and there are three major risks that is arising because water is a competing resource. So basically, everybody is competing for water. It's a finite shared resource. Like, solar energy you can generate any day. I used to be in solar field for nearly 5 years. You can generate solar energy any day, but you don't have rainfall every day. There's a fixed rainfall. And today, I read from Mridula's book, Watershed, because of change in because we are living in a warmer planet, there's a change in precipitation, evapotranspiration. So the availability of rainfall has significantly changed. We have intense fewer rain days, not like before you used to have rainfall for long days. So I just picked from your book. So so you guys have to buy the book for sure. So what I mean to say is, with this scenario of change in proportion of water availability, industries are in massive and imminent risk. So there are three major risks industries will face because of water crisis. One is financial risk. They will buy water at the highest price compared to anybody, right? And the second thing is the groundwater today for industries and commercial city, you pay for it. In water stress area like Bangalore, you have to pay 10x the price. And not just that, you have to reduce the groundwater withdrawal by 20% and improve the groundwater levels by 20%. And eventually become water positive. Eventually, I'm sure all industries have to work technically off-grid, not really depend on sources of water that you and I consume, right? So with this, when we actually digitize water, when I say we want to make water data transparent and clear, we are digitizing it. On top of that, if we identify inefficiencies in water, that will be a very significant component of industries becoming water positive. So we digitize water infrastructure, identify inefficiencies, leakage, wastage, excessive usage, and also ensure, are they rainwater harvesting on par with their plan, and their water treatment is working according to the plan, or is there a possibility of a downtime? So in effect, we secure their water infrastructure, ensure we de-risk them from other risks, including compliance risk and business continuity risk. I've been told one of the largest dairy actually shut down for 18 days because of unavailability of water, and during that time their competitor kind of acquired all their customers and it was a permanent switch. So business continuity risk is going to be another big risk for industries. So we are using data-driven approach, identifying these risks and providing them a SaaS platform that gives them prescriptive alerts to take corrective action to ensure they are de-risked. Today we have more than 100 plus customers from Tata Steels of the world to Vedanta, Britannia's food processing and others. So more I'll share as we go along. But very happy that the corporate world has woken up and realized the risk associated to water and giving us business.
No, thanks. Ganesh is a huge sustainability thing. He runs a SaaS Mafia also, which I would invite you guys to check out. And thanks for the shout out on the book. Just to put a couple of their comments here, I think two people are making water reusable, right? And I've called it the Brahmastra in the back pocket. Because look, sewage is right there. It's every day. India has one of the most seasonal waters in the world. We get most of our water in less than 100 hours. It's something we don't realize because we open the tap and for most of our water comes out. But India's water doesn't come out, and if your water doesn't run out, it soon will. So sewage is right there. It's right in your house. It's something that's available every day and it's reusable. So I think it's really great that people are using it. The second is, for most of us, water is invisible. We don't care. It's invisible. We don't know anything about it. And I think companies like what Ganesh is doing is making water visible. But all of this comes to nothing if people are not investing in it. So let me come to you, Aditi, and ask, what are I have three questions, if I may. What is your personal water investment thesis? Second, how are other investors looking at water? Is it the stepchild or is it the prima donna? Right? And thirdly, specifically within water, what are the areas you're looking at? Thanks.
So thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you guys. I think most of us have touched base sometime in past. I'm happy to meet you guys in person as well. Happy to be here. Before I answer those questions, I'd like to maybe just briefly talk about what we do and why I am here. Okay, thanks. By the way, that water conversation really probably stuck with me yesterday, because yesterday night I had dreams only about water. I am not sure why. Maybe, and I didn't even know I was going to be a part of this. Probably it's my subconscious. So I am from Caspian Debt, Caspian Impact Investments. We call it Caspian Debt. We are focused on funding scalable business model in impact space. We have been doing it for past 10 years. Water has been a very important part of those investment, of course, from an impact perspective, but we have also kept a very ambitious goal for us. We pulled it together with WASH, which includes sanitation and hygiene, and we have targeted to sort of invest 100 crores till FY28. That's a target that we have kept for ourselves. And we are a long way to go. Historically, what we have observed is, at the end of the day, because we are a VC or a venture debt, we look at fundable business models that just cannot go out of the picture. Over a period of time, we have realized that we are still a long way to go, because somewhere we couldn't find enough fundable business models. Having said that, we have funded a few of them. We have met about 20% of that target already, because of two reasons based on our observations. Water as a whole is a highly government-dependent business model, either regulatorily or direct government contracts or business models, which in itself needs a very different form of a risk appetite for a startup, and therefore needs a very different capital structure. And therefore, we have not been able to very strongly fund these models. Having said that, things have changed right now. There's already something called a silent revolution going on in biomass industry, which is driven primarily from the fact that today corporates are more and more focused about how they want to take sustainability. And therefore, there's such a silent revolution going on. Of course, there's a lot of work that is going on, who startups or enterprises who are in this supply chain solving for, but the buyer continues to be B2B, which is corporate. Something similar is what we are observing in water as well. Because for it to reach till B2C is still some time. For you and me to pay for water is still some way to go. But for corporates, it's something that is driven from a mandate perspective, from an objective to become more and more neutral, nature neutral, so to speak. So definitely there are hopes in terms of, we strongly believe that this will continue, or is probably, if it's the best times to be in, if at all. Now I would like to probably answer some of them. I'm not sure whether I already answered a few of that, but I think your first question was, in water, what do we look at? Honestly, for us, we don't believe in subcategorizing the impact sectors. We believe that every niche will have some business models that are creating impact and are fundable. So therefore, we don't limit ourselves to, say, focusing only on one subsector when it comes to any impact sector. If you are a fundable business model with a strong impact, we have an objective to work with you. So that is it. Yes, I would. I think our targets speak for themselves. It's not a stepchild for us. We are still wrapping our heads around on how to make that happen, but it's not a stepchild for us, because we have done that already. We've been doing it for past 10 years. In fact, I've been primarily focused on climate investments from Caspian perspective. That's been the core focus of me. So no, it's not a stepchild for us. No, I honestly, that's what I'm trying to say, that no, because we have a very focused target only on the sector. So it's not a stepchild for us. And I'm happy to talk to anyone here, either of you guys, anyone here who is trying to solve that, because we want to be a part of solving the puzzle. That is A. Could you repeat your second question?
I think the three questions are done.
Okay.
So,
Mridula and team. You see, anybody who has registered for the Junjunwala early stage 2-minute pitch contest, it's about to start. These guys are just getting the contestants rounded up. We see that some of the contestants are not there. So if you guys are here, whoever registered early morning for the Junjunwala contest, please rush to the amphitheater. It's starting right away. If you don't rush in the next 5-10 minutes, it's going to be over because each of you get just 2 minutes to talk. Go ahead.
I just had a quick follow-on question. Yeah.
So, just wrapping it up, I think, look, it's really great. I hope what some of you are inspired on how people are working in water, and most importantly from investors who are saying it's fundable, right? It's not like you're wearing this Jolna pai and walking around. I'm sorry to use that terminology, but it is what it is. And you're not wearing a Jolna pai, but you can actually make money out of it. But and people are walking out, but oh well. So the next thing I would ask you is, you've said a little bit about yourself, but what is the single biggest bottleneck you're facing if you wanted to become 10x in the next 5 years? One is obviously the elephant in the room, which is water is not priced. But what is the other big bottleneck?
Before I get into this, I just had a quick comment on the private companies and the corporate companies who are now more sensitized on the economics of a water treatment solution. Before, conventionally, people were not able to achieve consistency in water treatment. Now, with the technology development we have done, Openwater has done, which is electrically based, it is more predictable and more consistent, which gives the opportunity of getting that ROI for them to consider as a business prospect, and not only from a compliance or a government point of view, but rather from a business point of view. People are looking at such solutions and deployments for it.
Yeah, I think if that is what is happening, I think that's best way forward in terms of at least fundability of that project or a business. I think that's the best way to go.
See, I think Ganesh made a comment that I say where the industry is at. I do, and I don't think there are too many other industry people here. But I mean, you're completely right. We're last in the pecking order. We don't vote. Nobody cares about us. They'll feed drinking water first, farmers next, industry, damn you. So it's. I think industries will drive this forward. Yeah.
So yeah, I think to answer your question, I think few of the challenges that we face is we are trying to productize a traditional EPC kind of a market. So building a product by itself as an engineering challenge, those are there, and we are able to solve it with our skill set and getting core expertise inside. But when we scale up, as the nature of building a product is how the quality would be. Like Prabha rightly said, we want to focus on the quality wherein the people feel proud that I want to install this particular brand water treatment plant and I want to showcase it. For example, in the industries, the DigiSet is always in the front gate because that is something that you can showcase. So that scale-up challenge wherein we are looking at different manufacturers who can maintain the quality. For example, like a supply chain of an automobile. It is done at a large scale and very elegantly done. So that is something that we want to get at, where the water treatment plant as a product would come out of a supply chain and it can be proudly showcased in the front of a factory. That is the scale-up challenge that we are kind of working on solving at this stage.
I kind of agree with you because one of the biggest challenges for a startup like us is to scale up. And how do you do it along different sects of the business? One of that is sales and distribution, because we are tech focused. So you build technology, but then it doesn't end there. Then you have to take care of how do you do sales in this segment, which is very strongly held by the relationships you have with customers, because it's a regulatory driven business. And it takes time to build that. And as a startup, we don't have the luxury of time. So it goes for sales and distribution. It goes for scaling up manufacturing. It goes for setting up your customer service, right? So all of that together. So that is a bottleneck, but that can be overcome, I feel, with the right partnerships. It takes years to do it on your own. And to do it imminently, I think right partnerships in place would be good, so that we can focus on what we are best at, and and set up the full line of business. So that is one of the bottlenecks. The other bottleneck we face is, like Krunal mentioned, we are building something new, and this market is a little risk averse. And though you may be stuck with something ineffective, there is a huge barrier for people to adopt something new and take that risk. So that confidence building has to happen with early adopters, and we see that happening more so with industries. Because they are the ones who need technology, and they don't have something to catch up with their evolving needs. And the third bottleneck is that this is still largely seen, wastewater treatment is still largely seen as a burden, and still not a choice. For industries, yes, when the risk for water goes up, it will be a choice. It is going up, but largely it is still seen as a burden. So to mitigate that, I think policies and incentives or subsidies will help. There are incentives and subsidies for installing solar panels. I think we should bring that for water. So those are the three major bottlenecks I can think of.
So, I mean, I always feel the bottleneck is always in me. As a founder, I always feel that am I doing enough as much as I should be doing. I have two of my investors probably sitting here. They would be hearing, but still, it's an honest confession. Always a founder feels that am I doing enough? So even before talking about bottlenecks outside me, I always feel first let me fix the bottleneck inside me. So I agree with the part of the partnership. Something that I think is the key, and we have to identify people who have been selling a lactometer or somebody who's selling something else to an industry, or these people, how do we enable them to sell water services, water solutions? I think it's a problem and a solution in itself. So that's something I think we have to create that kind of evangelism, that water business can be profitable, and that communication, that sharing of opportunity at a wide scale, because water is an important ingredient in everything. But when there are people who are selling various equipments, that's something that I feel is a very important thing that we all have to do as a community of water entrepreneurs. Right? I think that is one. And another aspect, while the pricing of water is always a questionable thing and debatable thing, but sometimes we feel we, as entrepreneurs, we are business people. Right? At the end of the day, we are business. Are we really able to go after markets where the water pricing is comparatively fair or comparatively better than where we are selling? So that's another bottleneck. How do we get access to those markets where the pricing of water is very different? Of course, we all want to operate in India and we will sell in India, but can we actually make premium outside where the pricing of water, like for example, places where they get water from desalination. There's a place in Gujarat, Dahej, where a bunch of industries have put desalination plant and they have invested a lot of money. The price of water there obviously is very different, and the carbon impact, environmental impact at very different price. So obviously the water from desalination is much more profitable if you are actually manage it better, right? So if I think that is another thing. As an entrepreneur, I always think, am I really doing good enough to identify these markets where the opportunity is high and sell at premium, and then reduce the market for a mass scale market? So these, I just reflect on myself on these bottlenecks.
Thank you, Ganesh. Same thing. If you want, you're saying 100 crores by 2028. If you want, what is stopping you from putting 1,000 crores from 2028?
I think in a lot of it was Ganesh said was precisely the reason why what is stopping us. I think I mentioned a part of it, regulatory government. It's not like we have not funded wash companies or water companies, but you have found startups struggling because of a very high dependence on government-based orders, which eventually affects our investment in these companies. So probably finding those right markets where it's not just sustainability proposition, but it's more like a business model proposition with a very clear business value, economic or business, either ways. I think that gap is there in the market big time.
I'm actually going to make a comment because I think there's enough of a market in a private sector. I think all of you guys are playing it. That's where I'm a little confused because
so when I say that, it also then comes down to scale.
no, I agree. But the one comment I sort of put to India is let's not try solving India's problems. But one Madras is bigger than Israel. It's bigger than a Singapore. And the private sector within Madras, Bangalore, Hyderabad is far bigger than all of them. And Israel and Singapore have billion dollar, water startup industry. So that's where I'm coming from.
It's true, but then there's
It's controlled by the tanker mafia and the borewell thing. The innovation direction is different. But yeah.
I think it drives down to who is ready to pay you. And that is where scalable business models come in. And I would like to be corrected, honestly.
No, with respect to the... See, the point of you saying that Chennai itself, you can actually make all the revenue, right? But the sales cycles for somebody to make a decision to give, if you just stick only to I mean, of course, if you are in municipality and other, it's a very different business. But I'm just saying, a company like ours, yeah, if you're just thinking about private itself, if he sticks, I mean, of course, this is a great place to be. That's why I've also come here. But the point is that if you just stick to one specific geography and you think you can actually scale, many times there is an intent to give a business in water is still not there to the extent that you can actually scale or build the ARR for a business. Like a $1 million ARR is all our,
so
we
Ganesh,
want to hit there,
just
right?
to make it a little crisper, who is willing to pay you?
I just jump in here. So right now we are working with the likes of Aditya Birla Group, Unilever. These are all the corporates who are working with us, and they are working mainly because on the economics point of view, that this solution is making, like, obviously, like you said, there is a cost of purchase of water, there is a cost of discharge of wastewater, there is a cost of handling the sludge. So when we are proposing a solution which is more robust, more consistent, they are seeing the actual dollar value per liter of water that they are recycling. For corporates like this, we are also working with Tata Cleantech Capital. They are working with us for deploying water assets for all the Tata Group companies, especially for sewage treatment. So they don't have to spend on the capital, but they get it returns from an OPEX model, something like what solar model does. So there are private corporate players who are Ajmera Group, like the builder community is also coming up to speed on deployment on OPEX models, for example.
So that is where exactly my hope, when I mentioned in my first this thing, that is where my hope is coming from. That although past it has been highly regulatory, government driven, today it is changing because the primary market driver is not going to be B2C, it is probably going to be B2B, which you guys have sort of solving for.
But Prabha, do you agree? Do you think there's no hope at B2C at all?
There is hope, it's just hiding behind the curtain and it'll raise soon. See, you cannot, there was a day when we thought we don't need personalized computers. We don't need personalized phones. But that's not true today. We cannot live without one. So there will be a day when you have to be water reliant on your own. I agree, maybe today the market is very, very slow to catch up, but it will appear like this because, we are just focusing on water, but water is not a standalone segment. There is a water energy nexus that we are completely overlooking. Like Ganesh mentioned, the energy crisis has already hit an individual. It will be very soon that the water crisis hits an individual because it's interlinked with energy. You need energy to pump your water from your rivers or even to deadlift it from your groundwater. The groundwater depletes, your water patterns shift. Imagine what happens to your water availability. And that's already happening. So there will be a day when you open your taps, like Mridula said, there's no water, and that will be the day when you will pay for getting the system in your house.
Yeah,
so the B2C will open up.
No, Ganesh, you add quickly. Are there any audience questions? I know there's one person saying you ask me, but other than that, get a sense because we're running out of time. So we have one question, two questions, okay. Yeah,
So
go ahead.
to be honest,
quickly
one line
and then-
blunt answer for your question is the most profitable companies pay.
Not true. Textile companies pay and we're not profitable.
Okay,
Their
I
reason
mean,
is
I am talking
slightly
from...
different. Textile
no,
pay-
I'll tell you, like, I had a debate with Narsi about this recent Apple ad. And Right, think of it, right? I mean, when you have a great market capitalization and you are a very profitable company, so you'll be looking at your next pivot. How do you actually become the most admired and most sold brand, right? I think now, for lack of better, climate is sexy, right? I mean, so that's the next pivot that we are going to see. And we'll see that a lot of corporates now see that how becoming climate neutral, becoming water positive is the next way to capitalization of the market. And that trend will actually eventually lead to every individual here sitting, like as he said, the consumer market will also evolve, because such large scale campaign on environment. See, I don't know the ordered nitty-gritties of how they do it, but still that campaign on how you care for nature above all, I think is going to drive, and that is going to be done by the most profitable business, because they have the money to actually create this pivot, like the environment pivot, the sustainability, climate pivot. I might be wrong, but I'm just guessing.
Okay. So, do we have time for audience questions? 2 audience questions? No? Okay, sorry. No. Or if we are running out of time and we can... Okay, 2 questions. I think we're...
Give me a moment, guys.
Thank you. The reason I wanted to post a question is, I found a stagnation on the question what is being asked by the investor. And the topic is revolving around centralized water solution. I think your name is Prabha? Prabha was suggesting that decentralization of water. She was indicating in that level. Yeah. When there is a decentralization of water, there is a scope. What I mean by the decentralization is...
can we get to the question quickly, because we are holding everyone for lunch?
Yeah, okay. I think then it cannot be that short. I just open up the question and I will leave it. We are talking about a domestic water market, where we are comparing Israel and Singapore, all these kind of solutions. And we are talking about the millions or billions of liters of water which is being, bottled water which is being sold. That is one area. There is possibility of investments there. And water related to the agriculture, the second part. The third part is the industrialized water solution. Now, if we get into these topics, then we will see the opportunity.
Okay, great. Thank you. So thank you everyone for staying for, back for lunch, and thank you, the 3 startups here, and importantly the investor here, for showing what lifeboats are possible. I think the biggest lifeboat is, I think the payback, incentives, and making sustainability sexy. Image. I think that's really good, and it's not the stepchild. So that's great takeaways from this session. So thank you all.
I'd like to request the dignitaries on stage stand together for a group photograph. An announcement for the attendees. Lunch will be served here at 7th floor, and we would like to announce that we have arranged an exclusive sitting area for partners, and I request one from each partners to be seated at 6th floor. Desserts will be only